If you only do what's easy, life gets hard. But if you learn to do what's hard, life eventually gets easier. It's a paradox, a truth that many ignore. But it's the turning point for those who decide they want more. The mind, left to its own devices, seeks comfort. It wants routine, safety, familiarity, but growth doesn't happen there. Comfort is not where your best life lives. It lives on the other side of resistance. The question is, can you train your mind to want the hard path, not just tolerate it, not just endure it, but actually crave it? The answer is yes, but only if you're willing to take ownership of your thoughts. You see, every time you choose discipline over distraction, every time you choose effort over ease, you lay down a brick in the foundation of strength. And here's the catch: the brain starts to notice. It starts to associate pain with progress, struggle with satisfaction, sweat with success. Suddenly, it's no longer a punishment to do the hard thing. It becomes a privilege. The gym becomes therapy. The early morning becomes sacred. The challenge becomes the reward. And now, you're not just doing hard things. You're drawn to them. You seek them, because you've changed what your brain celebrates. And that, my friend, is the edge. That's what separates the ones who dabble from the ones who dominate. So how do you get there? You decide. You stop negotiating with your feelings. You show up when it's inconvenient. You stop asking for it to be easy. You embrace the resistance. You say, this is hard. Good. This is uphill. Perfect. Because now you know something most don't. Hard is where the gold is buried. Hard is where your future is being shaped. Hard is what forges the character you'll need when the stakes are high. Train your brain to crave the climb, and life will reward you at the top. Ease leads to difficulty. Difficulty leads to strength. It's one of life's oldest truths, hiding in plain sight. Do what's easy now, and you'll pay for it later. Do what's hard now, and you'll get paid for it later. The path of least resistance looks tempting. Comfort feels good in the moment, but it's a trap. A slow drift into weakness, regret, and missed potential. When you always take the easy route, when you skip the workout, delay the work, avoid the tough conversations, you're trading long-term freedom for short-term relief. You're not escaping difficulty, you're postponing it. You're just letting it gather interest. And when it finally arrives, it doesn't knock. It crashes through the door. Life gets hard not because it has to, but because we chose the easy too many times. But choose difficulty, embrace it, lean into it, look it in the eye, and something changes. You grow. You get sharper, tougher, more capable. You stop folding under pressure because you've trained under pressure. You've done the reps others avoided. You've stepped into the fire and you've come out stronger. Discomfort becomes familiar. Challenge becomes a companion, and fear becomes fuel. Most people run from hard things. They treat difficulty like an enemy, but difficulty is a doorway. It doesn't block your progress. It is your progress. Everything worth building demands effort. Strong bodies, strong minds, strong character. They're all carved from struggle. Think about it. No one stumbles into excellence. No one coasts into greatness. They choose the harder path, day after day. They sacrifice ease for strength, because they know a soft life makes a hard future. But a hard life makes a strong soul. So ask yourself, what kind of life do you want? One that's easy now and painful later, or one that stretches you now and rewards you later? One way or another, you will face difficulty. But only one kind makes you stronger, the kind you choose, the kind you train in, the kind that shapes you, not breaks you. So start walking into it. Pick up the heavy weight, have the tough conversation. Wake up earlier, go the extra round. Don't look for easy, look for meaningful, look for growth, look for the edge, because in the end, what you avoid will own you, and what you embrace will empower you. Ease leads to difficulty, but difficulty, chosen, welcomed, and respected, leads to a strength that nothing can shake. The brain is wired for comfort. It's designed to keep you safe, to conserve energy, to avoid unnecessary risk. And in many ways, that wiring helped our ancestors survive. But today, that same wiring holds most people back. Left unchecked, the brain becomes a master of avoidance. It dodges discomfort. It fears challenge. It resists change. It whispers things like, take the easy way. Do it later. Don't push too hard. And if you listen long enough, you start to believe it. But here's the truth: comfort never made anyone stronger. Comfort never built anything worth having. Comfort is a beautiful place, but nothing grows there. The brain doesn't care about your goals. It cares about your survival. It's not trying to make you great. It's trying to make you safe. So if you want to grow, if you want to rise, you have to override that system. You have to become aware of when your mind is playing small. You have to call it out, and then you have to act anyway, because growth only lives on the other side of resistance. And resistance is your signal that you're on the right path. Every time you do something uncomfortable, you train your brain to get stronger, not softer. You stretch your limits, you build new patterns, you rewire your mind for courage instead of comfort. But that doesn't happen by accident. It happens through conscious effort. It happens when you stop treating fear as a stop sign and start seeing it as a green light. The brain will always try to pull you back into the familiar. It'll feed you excuses, distractions, justifications. It'll tell you to rest when you need to move, to hide when you need to speak, to quit when you need to keep going. But here's the good news: you're not your brain. You're the thinker behind the thoughts. You're the one who decides which signals to follow. So when your mind says, "This is too hard," you say, "That's exactly why I'm doing it." When your brain says, "Stay where it's safe," you say, "Growth lives outside this zone." And when it says, "Maybe tomorrow," you say, "No, right now." Because every time you push through, every time you do the thing your brain resists, you take back control, you reclaim power, you become more than the old pattern. Challenge rewires the brain, struggle strengthens the mind. Repetition creates a new identity. Yes, the brain is wired for comfort, but you are wired for more. And if you want to rise, you have to stop negotiating with comfort. You have to get uncomfortable by choice. Because that's how you grow on purpose. You can train your brain to crave the hard path. It sounds impossible at first, because everything in you might want ease, comfort, and simplicity. But that desire isn't permanent. It's learned, and it can be unlearned. The brain adapts. It responds to repetition. It forms patterns based on what you do consistently, and that's the key: asterisk, asterisk, consistency, asterisk, asterisk. If you consistently choose what's easy, the brain begins to equate ease with pleasure. It starts seeking shortcuts. It rewards you for avoiding discomfort. But if you start choosing the harder road, if you lean into challenge, push through resistance, and show up even when it's inconvenient, the brain takes notice. It begins to connect difficulty with something positive, not pain, but progress, not struggle, but strength, not discomfort, but development. And when that switch happens, you no longer dread the hard things. You start to want them. The early mornings feel less like punishment and more like opportunity. The extra reps, the long hours, the uncomfortable conversations, they become stepping stones, not stumbling blocks. Because now, your brain isn't just tolerating difficulty, it's rewarding it. It's craving the next test, the next challenge, the next level. This doesn't happen overnight. It happens over time. Each decision is a signal. Each action is a vote for the person you're becoming. You say to yourself, "This is hard, but I'm doing it anyway. This hurts, but it's helping me grow. This feels like pressure, but it's producing power." You begin to chase that feeling of earned pride, the kind of satisfaction that doesn't come from easy wins, but from pushing through when quitting felt easier. Eventually, hard things no longer feel foreign. They feel familiar. They become part of who you are. Because you've trained your mind to link effort with achievement. You stop asking, how can I make this easier? And you start asking, how can I make myself stronger? That's the mindset that builds resilience. That's the mindset that wins over the long haul. You don't need more motivation. You need more reps, more deliberate, disciplined action, more days of doing the thing you said you would do. That's how you rewire the system. That's how you teach the brain to work for you, not against you. That's how the hard path becomes the only path you trust. And once that transformation takes root, everything changes. You stop running from pressure. You run toward it. You stop fearing failure. You embrace it as feedback. Now, difficulty is no longer the enemy. It's the compass, the signpost that you're headed in the right direction. Because your brain, trained and focused, is no longer chasing comfort, it's chasing growth. Every disciplined act is a brick of progress. A single act might seem small. It might look insignificant in the moment. But stack them day after day, and they become a wall of strength, a fortress of character. Discipline is not about one grand decision. It's about the small choices repeated consistently. It's choosing the work when you feel tired. It's staying focused when distractions are everywhere. It's showing up when no one is watching. Each time you follow through on a commitment, you lay down another brick. And with every brick, you build a version of yourself that can be trusted. Trusted to rise, trusted to finish, trusted to lead. Repetition of difficult tasks doesn't just build routine, it builds resilience. It sharpens your focus. It strengthens your will. Mental muscle isn't formed by talking about goals. It's formed by waking up early when the bed feels warm, by starting the workout when your body says no, by opening the book when your mind wants entertainment, by doing the right thing even when it's hard. The hard things matter most because they shape you, they stretch you, they expose your weakness and then give you the chance to replace it with strength. Discipline teaches you something emotions never will, that feelings are temporary, but actions leave a mark. When you act with discipline, you create a track record. You build self-respect. You start believing in your own ability to follow through. That's how confidence is born, not from hype or luck, but from repeated effort. From proving to yourself that you can handle it, brick by brick, day by day. Each act of discipline is a vote for the person you want to become. The more you cast that vote, the clearer your identity becomes. Suddenly, you're not forcing discipline, you are asterisk disciplined. It's who you are. It's how you operate. And now, momentum is on your side. People will ask how you became so focused, so consistent, so driven. And the answer will always be simple reps. While others avoided the hard things, you ran toward them. While others gave in to excuses, you honored your habits. And now, the results speak louder than any words could. There is no shortcut to this. There is no hack, just bricks, just discipline, just choosing the harder right over the easier wrong, again and again. That's how you build mental muscle. That's how you build a life you're proud of. And it all starts with one brick, then another and another, because every disciplined act, no matter how small, is a step forward, a piece of progress, a reason to keep going, and in the end, those small acts become the foundation of everything you've built. Pain becomes progress when embraced. It stops being something to fear and starts being something to follow, because pain, when it has a purpose, transforms into power. Most people run from pain. They think it's a signal to stop, to turn back, to take it easy, but pain isn't always a warning. Sometimes it's a teacher, a message that you're stretching, growing, becoming. When you embrace the pain that comes with effort, with discipline, with persistence, you stop seeing it as punishment. You start seeing it as a sign you're doing something right. The mind begins to make the connection. This burn in your muscles, this discomfort in your chest, this ache in your heart, it's not the end. It's the beginning of something better. because the path to strength is paved in struggle. The journey to greatness is lined with resistance. There is no breakthrough without breaking through. And once you accept that, once you invite that pain in instead of avoiding it, you take back control. You stop being ruled by comfort. You start being fueled by conviction. You begin to crave the challenge, not because it feels good in the moment, but because you've tasted what it produces: progress, clarity, pride, confidence, purpose, every rep that burns, every mile that hurts, every early morning that tests you. They're not wasted. They're wiring your brain for resilience. When you choose pain for the right reasons, you gain something on the other side. Not just results, but identity. You become someone who doesn't fold, someone who doesn't flinch, someone who fights. And over time, your mind stops reacting with fear. It starts reacting with focus. It recognizes the pain not as a problem, but as a portal. A door to the next level. A cue that you're building something real, something lasting, something earned. Pain loses its power to stop you because you've redefined its meaning. You've taken away its sting and replaced it with significance. That soreness after the grind, that's your body saying, "We're rebuilding." That tension in your heart after a setback, that's your spirit learning how to hold more weight. That mental fatigue from staying disciplined, that's your brain learning what strength really looks like. So don't run from pain, run into it with purpose, face it with intention, welcome it with courage, because once you do, the pain becomes progress. And the progress becomes proof that the work works, proof that you're changing, proof that your struggle is shaping your story, and nothing can take that away, not doubt, not fear, not failure. Because you've turned pain into a partner, not a punishment, and now you walk the hard road with your head high, knowing every step, every sacrifice, every ounce of sweat is adding up to something powerful, something unshakable, something undeniably yours. Shift from resistance to craving. That's the real transformation. Not just doing the hard thing once, not just surviving it, but actually wanting it. The goal isn't just to tolerate hard things. The goal is to desire them, to wake up and chase them, to look difficulty in the face and say, "Let's go." Because the moment you stop resisting the hard path, you begin to unlock your power. As long as you resist, you're fighting your own progress. You're dragging yourself uphill with the brakes on. But when you shift your mindset, when you stop seeing hard things as obstacles and start seeing them as opportunities, everything changes. You don't dread the grind, you prepare for it. You don't run from challenge, you run toward it. Because you understand that's where the growth is, that's where the strength is, that's where your next level lies. The hard path isn't something to survive, it's something to seek, because on the other side of it is a version of you you've never met, a version that only pressure can reveal. And here's the truth: your body, your brain, your spirit, they are designed for challenge. They were never meant to stay idle, to stay soft, to stay stuck. The more you push, the more you stretch, the more you show up when it's uncomfortable, the more your mind rewires. It starts to crave the feeling of growth. The burn that tells you you're building, the friction that tells you you're moving forward, the discomfort that tells you you're alive and evolving. Tolerating hard things is a good start, but it's not the finish line. The finish line is when you begin to chase them, when the workout becomes therapy, when the silence becomes your space to think, when the early morning becomes your favorite hour. You're no longer forcing yourself, you're feeding yourself. You've developed an appetite for excellence, and that appetite grows with every challenge you overcome. You begin to look at hard things not with fear, but with fire. You think, if this is difficult, it must be worth it. If this tests me, it's probably teaching me. And now your perspective becomes your power. The world doesn't get easier. You get stronger. The weight doesn't get lighter. You get better at lifting it. Because craving the hard things means you've stopped waiting to feel ready. You've stopped asking for permission. You've stopped playing small. Now you see pain as a portal, pressure as a privilege, and effort as your edge. This is the shift that turns discipline into desire. That turns struggle into fuel. That turns effort into art. When you stop resisting the work and start craving the process, you become unstoppable, not because it's easy, but because you no longer want it to be. Habits reshape your identity. They are more than routines, they are declarations, daily proof of who you are becoming. Your identity isn't fixed, it's not written in stone, it's shaped, moment by moment, by the choices you make, and the most powerful choices are the ones you repeat. The ones that seem small, the ones that feel routine, but carry massive influence over time. Every day you cast votes with your actions, votes for the kind of person you believe you are, and the more votes you cast, the more you begin to believe it. Wake up early, you're becoming someone who's disciplined. Show up to train, even when you don't feel like it. You're becoming someone who's resilient. Say no to distractions and yes to your goals. You're becoming someone who respects their time and purpose. That's how belief is built, not through words, but through patterns. You don't need to convince yourself of who you are. You need to show yourself. You need to prove it through action. When you do hard things daily, you stop seeing yourself as weak. You start seeing yourself as capable. You start identifying with strength, not struggle. Your brain watches everything you do, and it takes notes. It begins to say, if we do this every day, this must be who we are. So if you constantly break promises to yourself, your brain believes you're unreliable. But if you keep showing up, keep following through, even on the smallest tasks, your brain rewrites the narrative. Now, you're not someone who tries. You're someone who does. You're not someone who hopes. You're someone who builds. Habits are how you bridge the gap between who you are and who you want to be. It's not about having willpower once. It's about creating systems that make success automatic. Systems that make excellence your default setting. Want to be confident? Start stacking wins every day. Want to be focused? Remove distractions every day. Want to be strong? Push your limits every day, because each repetition is shaping your story. Not just your results, but your identity. And here's the beauty: you don't have to wait for a breakthrough. You don't need some massive moment of motivation. You just need one habit, one decision, one consistent step in the right direction, and then another, and then another. Soon, your habits stop being something you do. They become who you are, a reflection of your values, a mirror of your mindset. When your habits align with your vision, there's no more conflict. There's no more questioning your worth or your ability. You walk with clarity, you act with conviction, because your identity has shifted from unsure to unstoppable, from scattered to intentional, from stuck to in motion. And all of it started with the daily decision to live on purpose, to take the wheel back, to stop letting the day define you and start letting your habits shape you. Because identity isn't found, it's forged, one choice at a time, one day at a time, until it becomes undeniable who you really are. Your edge comes from doing what others avoid. That's where greatness begins, not in talent, not in luck, not in shortcuts, but in your willingness to go where others won't. Most people avoid discomfort. They dodge the hard work. They look for the quickest way out, the easiest road, the path with the least resistance. But that's not where the growth is. That's not where transformation lives. If you want to stand out, you have to step into the fire. You have to choose the hard way. Because every time you do what others skip, you separate yourself. You widen the gap. You gain ground. While they're sleeping in, you're rising early. While they're avoiding the reps, you're doubling down. While they're looking for comfort, you're chasing challenge. And that's what builds your edge. That's what sharpens your mind, hardens your will, and strengthens your discipline. Doing what others avoid isn't about showing off. It's about asterisk showing up asterisk when it's inconvenient, when it's uncomfortable, when it's uncertain, because that's where your real power lives, in the places that demand more of you. More focus, more grit, more heart. It's easy to blend in, easy to follow the crowd. But the crowd doesn't create excellence. The crowd settles. The crowd stays safe. You weren't built to blend in. You were built to rise, and rising requires a different standard, the standard of consistency, the standard of commitment, the standard of seeking what's hard asterisk on purpose. Asterisk, so when others avoid the early mornings, you make them sacred. When others avoid the extra mile, you turn it into your routine. When others stop at good enough, you push toward greatness, and over time that gap grows, not just in results, but in mindset, in identity, in belief. You don't just become stronger, you become asterisk, unshakable asterisk, because you've built something they haven't, the habit of doing the hard thing, and that habit pays dividends. It shows up in your confidence, in your calm under pressure, in your ability to adapt, to lead, to endure. People may ask, how do you stay so focused? How do you stay so strong? And the answer is simple. You chose the path they avoided. You made friends with pain. You welcomed challenge, and now it's part of you. Because difficulty didn't break you, it asterisk built asterisk you. And in a world full of shortcuts, that kind of discipline is rare. That kind of edge is powerful. So keep showing up. Keep leaning in. Keep doing the things most won't. Because that's where your edge is born. And that's how you stay ahead, by going where few are willing to go. Stop negotiating with your feelings. They are not in charge. They were never meant to be the driver of your decisions. Discipline doesn't ask how you feel. It asks what needs to be done. And that question never changes, no matter your mood. Too many people wait to asterisk feel asterisk ready, to feel motivated, to feel like it's the right time. But the truth is that feeling rarely comes, and if it does, it doesn't stay for long. Feelings are unpredictable. They rise and fall like waves, but discipline stands firm. It's the anchor in the storm. You don't need emotional permission to act. You don't need to feel good to do what's right. You just need to move, to start, to take the step, whether you want to or not. Because the moment you stop asking, do I feel like it, is the moment you start getting things done. Success doesn't care about your mood. Progress doesn't wait for perfect conditions. Growth doesn't ask for your comfort. It demands consistency. It demands effort. It demands discipline, especially when it's inconvenient. When you wake up tired, show up anyway. When your mind says rest, but your goals say move, you listen to your goals. That's how winners think. That's how leaders live. Not by negotiating with emotions, but by committing to action. Discipline is doing the work on the days you don't want to. It's choosing what matters most over what feels good right now. It's holding the line when everything in you wants to let go. Feelings are valid, but they're not always truthful. They'll tell you you're too tired, too weak, too late. But action reveals the truth. Action reminds you that you're stronger than your excuses, that you don't need to feel like doing it, you just need to do it. And here's the paradox, the feelings you're chasing. They often come asterisk after asterisk the action. Clarity follows movement. Confidence follows through. Energy shows up after effort. But none of it comes if you keep waiting for permission. If you keep checking in with your emotions before making a move. So stop the internal debates. Stop the stalling. Stop giving your feelings a seat at the decision table. You already know what needs to be done. Now do it. Don't trust the temporary voice of emotion. Trust the commitment you made to yourself, the vision you set, the standard you hold. because discipline is how you become that person, not someday. But now, right here, in the moments when it's hardest, when the couch feels better than the gym, when scrolling feels easier than studying, when quitting feels better than continuing, that's the battle. And if you win it often enough, you won't need to negotiate anymore, because discipline will become who you are. Not a struggle, but a standard, not a question, but an identity. And the person who lives by action, not emotion. That person doesn't wait for the right mood. They create the right results. The reward is forged in the struggle. It doesn't come easy. It's not handed out. It's earned, built in the fire, built through the days no one sees. True success doesn't live in comfort. It doesn't show up when things are smooth. It lives on the other side of hard work. The kind of work that tests your limits. The kind that stretches your character. The kind that demands more than you think you have. And that's the beauty of the struggle. It reveals what's real. It strips away the excuses. It exposes your weaknesses. And in doing so, it gives you a choice to quit or to grow. The struggle isn't a curse. It's the proving ground. It's where strength is made. It's where confidence is built. It's where the person you want to become finally takes shape. Every setback sharpens you. Every obstacle teaches you. Every long, painful day where you kept going when others would have stopped, that's where the reward is forged. Not just the external reward, the title, the trophy, the money, but the asterisk, internal asterisk reward. The pride, the self-respect, the knowing that you earned it, that nothing was given, that you stood tall through the storm. Hard work builds more than results. It builds identity. It turns discipline into default. It turns pressure into presence. And most importantly, it turns dreams into reality. The struggle refines you, it humbles you, but it also elevates you. It sets you apart from the crowd, because most won't go through it. Most look for shortcuts. Most tap out when it gets tough. But if you stay in the fight, if you keep showing up day after day, step after painful step, you will find yourself somewhere others never reach. Not because you're lucky, but because you were willing to do the work, willing to take the hits, willing to keep going when nothing seemed to be working. And that willingness creates the kind of success that lasts. Temporary success can come from talent, but lasting success, that's built in the trenches. That's built when no one's clapping, when the results are slow, when the nights are long and the pressure is high. That's when it's forged. That's when your reward is taking shape. So if it feels hard, good. That means it's real. If it feels like a grind, good. That means you're building something that matters. Don't fear the struggle. Don't resent it. Respect it, because it's carving out the strength you'll need for every level that comes next. Success is not found in the easy days. It's found in the days you wanted to quit but didn't. It's found in the moment you chose to rise instead of retreat. It's in the weight you lifted when no one was watching. The reward is not separate from the struggle. It is asterisk because asterisk of it, forged in it. Strengthened by it, that's what makes it real. That's what makes it yours. So don't wish for the struggle to go away. Don't pray for the path to be easier. Instead, rise to meet it. Embrace the resistance. Welcome the pressure, because every moment you spend in the grind, every hour you invest when it hurts, is building something unshakable inside you. And when you finally hold the reward in your hands, you'll know exactly what it cost. You'll know exactly who you had to become. And that will make it worth everything.